Good morning. We are back in the car, also known as my vlogging office, apparently. I just have to vent for a second. I tell you, I'm just amazed at so many things as of lately. Number one is, I do want to say I am thankful that we live in a world, or no, in a country where I am fully covered for all of my dialysis situation, right? Because it is expensive, and I can't even imagine somebody paying out of pocket for everything that we have to have, whether it's the dialysis, the doctor's appointments, the lab work. When I first started dialysis, I remember I got a bill because insurance hadn't quite gotten communicated with each other, basically. And so that bill was $635. And that was one visit for lab work. I don't know. Anyways, so I do want to say that for the record. I'm very thankful that we have medical coverage through the government. From what I understand, because coverage is like crazy to understand. And I'm not one to sit there, like I have way too much stuff on my plate than to sit there and read the books. So I do have to say that. But it's hard because it's like I'm fully covered on the government care, which is access. And then like the Medicaid or Medicare or whatever kicks in. But I'm not 65 and over. So I get all these phone calls from them about like how to get a life alert thing. It's chaos. Anyways, that's not even my point. Then I have another insurance which communicates with the government insurance that's called United Healthcare. And I want to say that these guys are legit and they are very, very helpful. So yesterday I spent an hour and a half talking to Access, trying to figure out who my primary doctor is, because I'm not in and out of the doctor's office a lot, except for kidney issues. I haven't seen a primary doctor in 3-4 years, to be honest. And so to get them to focus in and try to figure out who the heck I was supposed to see was insane and frustrating. And, oh, you called the wrong number, call this number. Oh, not this number, we'll transfer you to this office. Oh, okay, you know, it was just crazy. And then once I got to an office, they're like, okay, we'll schedule an appointment. And you're a first-time patient? And I said, yes, you know, and they're like, okay. So our first available appointment is September of 2025. Yeah, 2025. And I was like, 2020, no, I'm on dialysis. Like, there is a point where we can be flexible with our times, but we can't just be like, okay, this is the appointment I have at 2:15 and now I have to, you know, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know what's going to be happening in September of 2025. Like, I barely know what's going to be happening tomorrow. It was chaos, and I was just like really stunned. And she was just like, do you want to set the appointment? And I'm like, no, well, first I'm trying to absorb this information, and I can't understand, like, do people die before seeing anybody? Because this seems wild that you have to wait that long. And then she was very condescending, but also like, well, people do cancel their appointments all the time. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? And she's like, just keep calling in so we can set this appointment, and then you just call in and find out if there's available appointments for you that day. And I'm like, I'm on dialysis. I can't, like, the first dialysis exchange I do of the day sets the rest of the day. That's what happens to us. Now, we can be flexible, but at the same time, I'm like, that's so inconsiderate, especially when you have to deal with people. And a lot of times, my emotions comes to shove, I'll figure it out, and you'll have to roll with it. But it's like for people who don't have that, what if you don't have car transportation, or, you know, like all kinds of, like, you shouldn't be treated this way. That's ridiculous to me. It's just ridiculous that the whole thing's just frustrating. Anyways, I told her, I said, you know, I'm going to take a moment and just absorb this information, and then I'm going to call you back. Well, I didn't call her back. I decided to call United Healthcare because I was like, do you know who my primary doctor is? And so they immediately found my doctor, and I have an appointment tomorrow. Yeah, I know. You heard it right. Tomorrow. Not no September 2025. Tomorrow. Now, granted, it is not with the same doctor that Access was trying to connect me with, and that is fine with me. You know, I'm just making sure that I am, like, covered. Like, you know, that's another thing, is I always ask, you know, like, this is all covered on my insurance. Like, I'm not have to pay out of pocket, right? And, you know, of course it was covered. But that's crazy. And I'm so thankful for United Healthcare. So I guess that's a plug for them, because, you know, it's hard enough to manage all these insurances. And I can't even imagine being like super older, like 80, and having to deal with it all, and all the pills and all the stuff. And it kind of made me mad too, because my mom, well, on a totally different subject, another thing that made me frustrated was that my mom messages me and tells me that she went to the doctors, and they said she had high blood pressure, and gave her some high blood pressure pills, and, you know, she's, you know, la la la. And I'm like, do they not even talk to you about your alternative things to do nutrition-wise in order to combat high blood pressure? Because that's ridiculous. Like, red bell peppers, guys, eat them every meal. Blood pressure will go down. There's so much out there that you can do. It takes a little effort because you have to look. But why poison the body with medication that in the long run is going to cause chaos and damage, instead of just have some options for healthy eating? And I think my mom's blood pressure is a little high because she's probably overweight, but not a lot. And by the way, she's a swimmer. Like, she swims all the time, and she's active. She's physically active. And so I'm like, did you talk to her about different options for losing weight? Because that should be your focus, instead of here, slap a Band-Aid on it and take some high blood pressure meds. Like, I don't know. I don't know if these were things that they talked to her about and she didn't say anything, or if they were like, okay, number 1465, next. You know, like, it just makes me very aggravated when these kind of things start going on, because there are so many solutions out there that we can do, changing what we eat. And I know I harp a lot about what we eat, and our own bodies have to figure out what it is that feeds us and how we can eat better. But it just aggravates me that I don't think they talk to her at all about, you know, that kind of thing. And then it's just natural to be like, okay, I got to pick up a prescription. It's like, no, stop it. So I don't know. And I think too, I'm a bit passionate about that, because I remember I had high blood pressure, and they were like, okay, here you go. And I'm like, and I researched the crap out of stuff to find out what it was that would pull my high blood pressure down. So one of them is there's always a yin and yang with everything, right? And so sodium causes you to hold on to water, which causes you to be kind of bloaty. But sodium isn't terrible. You just have to have your balance. And we have to have sodium. But one of the things I learned, one big thing I learned, was tomatoes are inflammatory. So they're going to cause you to be puffed up. And And it's like when you're eating tomatoes and your sauces and your, you know, whatever it is, because I love tomatoes, you know, I love bruschetta, however you say it. I love it. But I only eat it like once every other week or something like that. I could eat it every day, to be honest with you, but I don't. But you know, it's something simplistic like that you can cut back on or avoid, and then instead grill you up some red bell peppers, chop up some red bell peppers, eat red bell peppers like they're your chips, you know. Maybe don't eat processed breads. I don't know. Nonetheless, that's how I got my blood pressure down without taking one single pill, and my blood pressure has been really, really great. I don't have any issues with it, but it all has to come down to the fact that it's easiest for me to run to Walmart, get my prescription, and take a pill than it is to be like, oh, let's see, I didn't have tomato this week, so I can have it this week. You know, that whole mindset has, it's just, we don't have it. And I wish that that was a focus where we actually enjoyed our food, like savored every bite of food instead of like just chowing down. But our lifestyle is that we have to chow it down because we got to get to the next event, we got to get to the next thing, we got to pay our rent, we got to go to work, we got to pick up the kids, we have to, you know, babysit the Charlie Bears, you know, like it's all this stuff, and that makes my heart very sad. So anyways, I'm gonna call my mom and figure out some different alternative methods for her to be able to get off of that. Anyways, I'm gonna let you go. This traffic's getting a little bit unnerving. So anyways, talk to you later. Drink your water. Stay encouraged though, and if there's any tips you guys have about lowering blood pressure, please post it, because oh my gosh, we got to be in this together, right? All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.